Alright everybody, let's take a look at layer masking basics. Really just the basics of what a layer mask is, and this will be kind of a two-parter because I'll go into it a little bit more in another video of some of the other things that you can do with a layer mask. But for now, just kind of the bare bones basics. And I want to use a real world example here, something that a lot of you have either done or at least you paid somebody else to do, but you should still be able to kind of recognize what I'm doing here, and that is painting a room. Okay, I want to paint this wall. So in the real world, what would I do? If I wanted to paint the wall, I would probably grab some masking tape, right? And I'd come down to this baseboard and I'd put some masking tape over it so I didn't get any paint on it. I didn't splatter any paint on the white area of the baseboard, right? Okay, so I put some masking tape there. So I'm masking it. I'm protecting it from being changed or edited or painted, all right? Now, let's say I was going to spray the room. Well, if I wasn't using a brush and I was using a sprayer, I'd probably mask off down here and I'd probably do the whole thing, or at least put some plastic down. But for sake of example, because we don't have the plastic, we have a plastic wrap filter in Photoshop, but we don't have a plastic, we have a layer mask, okay? We don't have a plastic mask. So just for sake of argument, I would mask off this whole area here. In the real world, maybe you'd put some plastic down as well, but mostly masking tape, okay? And I'd mask off this bottom area, and that would protect it from being painted, or protect it in Photoshop terms, protect it from being edited. All right, so in the whole Photoshop world, what I could do is create a new layer, okay, and that's being flexible because I'm going to put my paint on a new layer here, pick a color, all right, and I'm being flexible, and I'm going to create a new layer, grab my paint bucket, and just fill that layer. And I've painted the room, but I painted the entire room. I've painted everything with red. But the cool thing with the layer is that I could always grab my eraser tool and I could start erasing it away. Okay, and that looks good. And I could try to erase more of it away. But then if I mess up and I go too far, well, I have to undo and I have to keep trying to get it right. And that's not really an efficient way to work. Okay, it's a lot harder of a way to work. So here's what we can do. I'm going to delete that layer. We'll create a brand new layer here. And what I would do is in Photoshop, you make selections over areas that you want to change or that you want to modify or paint. Okay, and what that selection does is that tells Photoshop, this is where I want to work. This is where I want my changes to be applied to. Everything else, protect it, hide it, don't apply my changes to any of the other areas. All right, so by making a selection of the wall, I'm saying this is what I want to edit. Okay, and then I can go down to the bottom of the layers palette. And there's that little icon with a circle inside of it. It's the add layer mask icon. And if I click on it, it creates a layer mask thumbnail right next to the actual layer thumbnail for me. Okay, now it's black and it's white. Don't worry for now about the black and white. Let's just go to our layer thumbnail. I'm going to click on this thumbnail here. I'm going to go grab my paint bucket tool, and just like before, click and see what happens. See, Photoshop now has only filled the area of the wall with red. Everything else was protected. Now let's compare this to the layer mask. See what's really going on here, because if you look at this layer thumbnail, the whole thumbnail is filled with red. So so technically I should see red over the whole entire layer just like before, but I don't. Okay, and the reason why is if you correlate straight across to this layer mask, anything that's white means that this is what I'm seeing on the layer. Okay, I'm showing, if it's white on this layer mask, it means Photoshop will show you what's on the layer right next to it here. Okay, so what's on that layer? Red. So if it's white here, because you don't see the white and black being printed or saved on your web image, okay? What you see is on this layer thumbnail. So if it's white here, I'll see the layer. If it's black on this layer mask, then what it's saying is, it's saying protect that area. Okay, protect it, don't change it, don't modify it, don't paint it, don't fill it with red. It's saying protect it and show me whatever layer's underneath it. So what layer's underneath it? Well, it's the layer with the room on it, with the baseboard and the wood floor and the paint bucket can. Okay, so that's how this is working there. That's the basics of a layer mask. All right, whatever's on this mask that's white means show me this layer. Show me the layer that it's on, the layer thumbnail. Okay, so if it's white here, look over to here, and whatever is white on here, that means you'll see whatever is on this layer thumbnail. In this case, it's just red, but it could be anything. Okay, whatever is black on here means hide it, protect it, don't reveal it, don't show it, and it means show me whatever layer's underneath it. So whatever's black on here, which is the bottom part of this image, well, that's going to show me the paint can and the baseboard and the wood floor before it. And that's really the basics of a layer mask, kind of explained in a real world scenario. You know, what you do to a bedroom when you're going to paint the bedroom and you're going to mask off certain areas, you can do something very similar inside Photoshop by creating a layer mask. So this is just part one. In part two, we're going to take a little bit more of a step into actually working with this layer mask, because that's the real benefit of a mask, is that it's made to go back and to change. Okay, because right now all we have is black and white, but later on we're going to go back and we'll be able to change this mask, and instead of erasing and undoing and doing all the bad things that we don't want to do, we'll go back and we'll be able to change it and work very flexibly.